Welcome to another edition of WODPTV. My name is Richard Smith, and I will be taking the time today to talk to Pamela Tyler Thompson, who is running for Commissioner of Alamance County. So stay tuned.
Hey guys, Richard Smith here with WODPTV. I am sitting here again today with Pamela Tyler Thompson. We are out here at beautiful Cedarock Park, although today is not that awesome. It's kind of rainy. But we were out here today to talk a little bit about why she is running for county commissioner. I think Pamela is a great lady. I had a chance to sit down with her for the first time and talk with her back in February. And she took the time to honestly sit and talk with me, not in a rush talk like some politicians do. She sat down and talked with me like an old friend. And that impressed me. So I want to give her a chance to say some things on camera. Pamela, I understand by a lot of your posts and things that are important to you that you are a strong advocate for the military.
I am, very much so.
Can you tell me a little bit about your history with the military and why it's so important to you?
Well, my son, Evan, Sergeant, just got out of the military. He come home the end of July. He had his last deployment in Poland, and he was over there a couple of months. And whenever he was gone, you just don't sleep. You just don't. And I know every mother can say that about their child no matter what they're doing. But it's a whole different ball game with the military. I can remember Evan always talked about going into the military when he was in middle school, and I thought, well, I'm going to pray this out. He needs to become whatever else but that, because there's a certain fear that goes with it. And my dad was in the Air Force. He was an EOD specialist, which means he made sure if bombs landed, he had to defuse them so they never hurt anybody. He was all about, explosives, and that's the field that Evan wanted to go into. And I thought, oh, wow. And so anyway, in middle school, like I said, he was all about it. He was into weapons. He killed his first deer when he was 8 years old, and he never did it again. He said that's okay, but that's not for me. He wasn't a hunter, but he was a gun enthusiast. And he's always had gun safety training, him and my husband together, and I figured he'd end up being a sniper or something like that just because of his gift with weapons. And so anyway, he started playing in all these airsoft things. He worked at an airsoft store. He'd never had any training, but when he was in the 3rd grade, Richard, this is so funny, Evan could fix anything. He took so much of my stuff at my house apart, but he would at least put it back together. And when he was in the 3rd grade, one of his teachers got him to bring home their electric pencil sharpener, and Evan fixed it, and that became like a thing at Smith. And so he had a real mechanical mind, which I thought, oh, where is this going? So anyway, all through high school, he wanted to go. He thought he was going to graduate like in December. But thank goodness, the one last AP history class he had to take was only offered in the spring, because I told him, I said, the only reason I ran for Board of Education was to hand you your diploma. You can't do this to me. You don't understand. But he was ready to go, and I was not ready for him to go, as any mom would probably say that. Even with college, I had 2 daughters. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. But he graduated June the 10th, which was my middle daughter's birthday, and he left in July. He wouldn't let us go with him to MEPS down in Raleigh to swear in. He said no, he wanted to do this all by himself. Oh my goodness. And so when he went to basic, we didn't hear from him for weeks. The first call we got was Thompson, Evan, Charlie Company, blood, and it was like about 8 seconds long. And I thought, he's alive, I'm good. And and they didn't contact that. They were supposed to be removed from the world, so to speak, to learn how to be a soldier, to learn how to survive, and learn how to save somebody else. And the focus was unbelievable. And we would get letters from him, which this is hysterical, because he don't write no letters, but it would go, "Dear people." And I thought, who is this kid? What has happened to my son? Where is he? But he would tell us all about what he was doing and what he'd accomplished and who he had met. And I could tell he was forming some real strong friendships with guys and girls from all over, everywhere. And I could just see the growth in him. And we went down there in October for his graduation, and it was unbelievable. My father was just getting sick. He'd been diagnosed with cancer. He did not feel well enough to go, which was awful because him and Dad were so close. He was going to follow after my dad in the military. But my mother went, and we did the graduation, and you're all sitting, and they sit you in like Alpha, Delta, Charlie. So we're sitting in front of Charlie company. They come across the field, smoke, loud noises, boom, and the swearing when they take their oath. It is the most, it is the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen. And you're around everybody who is as crazy about their country as you are, which is, I'm pretty over the top. And so we had to go on the field once they gave us permission to tap them because they're in from. I walked right past him and was going toward another kid, and I heard him go, "Mom," because they all looked exactly alike. No hair, skinny, just tired. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so I met some of his people that he had really gotten to be bonds with. I met one girl, I think she was from maybe Ohio, I'm not sure, but he said she could kick anybody's ear. She's an amazing shot. And I thought, okay. But we spent some time with him. We spent the night, and the next day we came home for one day and took him to Fort Lee. And you feel, because he was going to explosive school, and you just feel like you're just throwing your kids to the wolves. You really do, because I felt that way when I took my oldest daughter to Wilmington. She's a zookeeper at Asheboro Zoo. She's absolutely the most amazing person you'll ever meet in your life. She smells smart. She's a genius, but she's even kinder than she's smarter. She's just amazing. And I thought, I'm leaving her at the beach. This is crazy. But, I was ready. And so anyway, to get back to him, and my other one's a teacher. She's just phenomenal as well. I've been so blessed. But took him to Fort Lee, and then he got done with that, and he went to Fort Benning, and then he got done with that kind of school, and he ended up at Fort Stewart, and he was Bradley Heavy Armor Vehicle Mechanic, and the Abram tanks, the M88 Hercules. He had to get certified in that. So everything he worked on was big, and everything he worked on was what they needed when you went to war. So, because you have to have those things working, and they have to be there. And he told me, he says, when we go, we're at war. And I thought, okay. So he did some deployments and training and everything, which I was okay with. But I lost my father while he was deployed, and he couldn't come in, and with quarantine for COVID and all that, it was a real hard time. But the military is very special to me because I watched what he was. He was a great kid. But when I saw him at graduation, he was a man. I thought, oh my gosh. And just his whole personality. And I was asking about all the stuff they did. And I said, what did you do? I said, was it worth it? Because he'd lost about 18 pounds. I should go to basic training. And he lost about 18 pounds. And he was just, he was tired, but he was excited. And I said, was it worth it? I said, was it hard? He said, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. He said, but I would do it again. And I knew that was the right fit for him. And as a parent, you only want your kids to be able to say, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I feel that way about what I do, and I know you do about yourself. And when my dad didn't talk about, he was in Korea, and he saw a lot of stuff working with explosives, and he would talk to Evan about it, and it's just really interesting. But going to the VA hospital, I think I've told you, with my dad for his cancer, I met just the walks of life that just saved the world. Really did. I met a young man who was a double amputee with his legs, and he had his cell phone wired Wi-Fi through his electric wheelchair. And wherever he went in the hospital, it was earth, wind, and fire. And I mean, it was loud. And I thought, if you cut that music off, you'll cut him off. Because he had that music, and he was just smiling, and it was his very purpose. And I met so many other young men and women down there that would tell me their stories, and I thought, my kid is going to this path, what an honor. But the military's big to me because while they're wearing their uniform, everybody, oh wow, thanks for your service, yeah, all this stuff. But when they're out of that uniform, they still carry that uniform on the inside. And it's very important that they have that support. I know not all of our wars have welcomed our soldiers home with the respect that they deserved, and you don't shake that. And working with trauma, with sex abuse and domestic violence, PTSD is PTSD if it's yours. You're still at war. A smell, a sound, a song, anything can remind you of something that happened, and it takes you right back to that point. And war's the same way. And we've got a great Veterans Administration here in Graham and Alamance County. The staff is stellar. They're like a bunch of Navy SEALs. But I think our veterans deserve bigger. I went to some centers. I want more for them. I want services for them. I want it all for them because they gave it all for us. And I've watched my son come back in, and he instantly got a job at Gregory Poole Caterpillar because he works with these big machines, and he's adjusting. You have to transition because that is a 24/7 job in the military, and you have friends that you will never have like that once you're back in the civilian life. And he still talks to him. A guy called him from Germany and said, "Sergeant, I need you to help me. We're working on something with Bradley." And he took a picture of it, and Evan was working on this vehicle across cell phones, and they got it fixed. And he said, I really miss my soldiers. And I said, well, I know they miss you too, for them to call you. And it's just a bond. And when you go to places, I've spoke at some military veterans things, and man, when you start talking about what they were and really still are, you see that common bond in them. And I want so much honor for them with a place that will serve them the way that they've served us. So the cool thing about getting a veterans center or expanding services or anything like that, that's all VA funded. And I know everybody panics whenever you start getting brick and mortar together. Oh, it's going to be a tax, it's going to be a bond, it's going to be a something. But no, that's the VA. And we got a great president that really supports our military, and they'll support that. And I'd love to see that tied in with our hospital, to offer all kind of mental health services and doctors, because the greatest thing about Duke VA is it's got across the street from Duke. Well, the Durham VA is right across the street at Duke, and they just walk back and forth across that street. My dad's gynecologist, Dr. Paul, he told me, he said, Bill, you'll probably live longer than me because I have to cross that street. And I mean, you got like 9 seconds to fly with that beeper. But I'm just a big supporter. I've become a better American since my son went in the military. And I want that for everybody, because 1% of our population serves. That's it. And they offer to serve. I went to the educators workshop for the Marines 4 years ago. The recruiter here, Daniel Grill, just an amazing guy. He said, I'd like for you to go down there because I would like educators to see what it takes to make a soldier. And I thought, okay, I'll go down there and I'll go to the gift shop and I'll watch some movies and meet some soldiers. And he said, yeah. And so it was 19 educators from, and I'm not an educator, I was just on the board, and 19 from North Carolina, and I think 24 from Virginia. And we met up in Raleigh, and we met all these people. And I tried to hire everybody because they were unbelievably amazing, committed to young people. And I thought, man, if I could get you all in my school. But anyway, we went to Paris Island, and we checked in our little motel. And I thought, well, this is great. And we got our little camouflage jacket and all that little stuff. I thought, I'm going to get some souvenirs. And they put us on that white bus, and they took us over on that base. And you get out, and there's those yellow painted footprints on that pavement. And when you step off that bus, they scream. We had like drill sergeants. It's like God Jr. We got on those footprints, and they would run and just scream at us. And I thought, what have I got? I'm going to die. I haven't even trained for this. And so we went in where they would buzz hair and load up and give you this and give you that, where they first bring you in. And we shot machine guns. We impaled over walls. We went to the gas house. We watched how they survived in the water. Name it. We saw obstacle course. We had lunch in the mess hall one day, and I sat with 2 boys, and they had about 3 weeks out. They were getting ready to start the Crucible, which is just walking death. And I sat there. I said, so one said he had his meal in front of him, and I said, are you going to eat? He says, I can't. So they don't eat until the other soldier sits in front of them, and they say these words together. It was just unbelievable. And I said, what's been your favorite part? Like, what's your favorite color? He probably thought, yeah, why are we dealing with these civilians? And I said, what's been your favorite part of this? And he said, Sunday. I said, really? I said, why Sunday? He said, because we go to church for 2 hours and God doesn't tell us what to do. And I thought, I can understand that, because it's like, breathe, don't breathe. Because our drill sergeant, Stephanie King, I will never get over her. She was amazing. She would get out of my pit, get in my pit, back and forth in this sand pit. I thought, I'm going to hurt her, I'm going to hurt her. But when we got on the bus to go do the obstacle course, the bus driver was a really sweet lady. I was sitting at the front, and I saw her coming across the field like a movie. You know, all I needed was background music. And I looked at the bus driver. I said, I will give you $500 if you shut that door and get me off this base. And she said, she'll find you. I thought, I bet she would. So anyway, I saw what it took for a kid just brand new out of school to think, I'm going to be a Marine. They ain't got no clue. And what it takes to turn them into a warrior is nothing short of a miraculous. And when I was talking to these two boys, I had a football coach at a big school from Virginia, and his quarterback the year before was in there in the Marines. He was in basic. And we watched him. He didn't know he was coming, and when he walked over to him, oh my gosh, it was something. I'll never forget it. And we got back on the bus that afternoon after we could hardly walk, and he said, you know, he was an unbelievable athlete, but he is an unbelievable warrior. And I will never forget the look on that guy's face of the respect he had for this kid was just unbelievable. And so that did it for me. I come back wanting basic training in high schools. I mean, I thought, you know, because kids need such a purpose to know how valuable and important they are and can be and will be. And so when I saw that and I saw what my son went through, boy, my level of respect went from mother to, oh my gosh, you know. And my fear kind of left me because I knew he was well prepared. Because, you know, you get in your car every day. You don't know if you're going to get to your destination. But I knew if he was going to leave this world, he would want to leave it doing what he was doing because he's told me that. And it's unbelievable. So the before soldier, the during soldier, and the after soldier is like my main priority as a commissioner. Because government is government. I've always told my board members, you know, don't get so caught up in the school system. Serve it, but these buildings will be here long after we're gone, and there'll be better leaders following us that'll do better things. And but the military and how I see veterans and how they're ready to go, just like that, and it's always in him. He still walks like a soldier. He handles himself like a soldier, and you can't pay that. You cannot pay for that. That is priceless. And he's a real American. I mean, he went and voted for me yesterday, and I thought, wow. I mean, I just thought, wow. That's the first time he's voted, and he was real excited about it. I swore I'd never embarrass you, and but that's a joke too. But I could rattle on about him. I mean, my daughters are just as big in life to me as far as what they do. They make such a difference in life, and they're so proud of their brother. And he used to call them she-devils because they would give him such a hard time in school. It was really funny. Typical brother. But I guarantee no girl better ever hurt his heart because he's got two sisters that will find her. But military is the top of my list. It is. And and I see young people that make bad choices, and I'm like, God, if you could just get in and let the right, because this is the military to me. The right people are in front of you, and they're giving you the right advice, the right training, the best of everything, and they're giving you the ultimate example of what you will be and more. And I wish that for every young person. I wish that for every person, because we need role models. And my house looks like an Army gift shop. It's so embarrassing to my son, but I'll never, you know, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if he didn't re-enlist, because I know that's who he is, but that is all about his decision. So he'd kill me for saying that. So. But yeah, I'm such a soldier wannabe. That's the best way to describe me. And I've yet to have anybody trust me enough to hand me a weapon. So that's okay. That's all right. I understand it. You don't hurt my feelings.
Okay. So, Pamela, I was born here in Alamance County. You were born here as well, right?
Yeah, 61 years ago.
61.
BC.
Wow. Man. So you remember the bugs and the horse and buggy.
That's it.
Yeah. You grew up here as a child, Alamance County. What does that mean to you? I mean, what is your history? Do you have fond memories of being here? We're sitting here in Cedarock Park, which is being used by many people. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about what life was like for you as a child here in Alamance County?
Well, I'm really blessed. I mean, I've been a hot mess off and on at certain times in my life,
I
but
think we all have.
yeah, and that's okay. It gives you a great foundation. But I grew up in Saxby-Hall. I went to Saxby-Hall Elementary School, and it was like a big square. And I remember the hardwood, shiny floors and all this. I had great teachers. Mr. Comer was my principal, and I lived through the woods at the back of the school, and I could walk home through the woods, like from maybe here to that building, and be at home. My grandmother worked at the Saxby-Hall Mill. Both my parents worked in Chapel Hill. They never locked the door. My grandfather cut timber, so he left real early in the morning and got back later in the afternoon. So it was a time where I could walk home through the woods and not have to be worried about getting attacked. Okay, and that's a different world now. And could stay there till my grandmother got home, and she would help me with my homework and get all that done. And I remember in the fourth grade, they built B. Everett Jordan, and we looked like a little thing of ants because we grabbed our chairs and we all walked across the field. I can remember this, with our chairs. Everything else was moved, but we helped with that. And then I had Miss Chew as my principal. Oh gosh, she's just very sweet. And then I went to Eli Whitney Middle School. I played sports. I was a cheerleader. You meet all new friends because we had Sylvan combining with Saxby-Hall. And a little bit of territory wars there, but I still got the same friends that I had back in school. I see them. I have played softball since middle school with probably the same group of girls. Some of them played for Carolina, some of them played for Elon. We pick up different ones during tournaments. They're still friends of mine. Amazing women, stud muffins. I played first base, and I thought if I don't get a broke hand by the end of this season, they throw the ball so hard. But I mean, it was your life, and friends like that you have for life. I still have them. And I see them, and I'm just so lucky. I was just so blessed, and playing ball, everybody would follow us wherever we went on tournaments. We were just like the Yankees. I mean, it was crazy because we were, unfortunately, I'm going to say this with total humbleness, we were that good. We didn't really have to work that hard because we played together since we were itty bitty, the same coach forever, and we just knew what to do, and it worked. We was just quite a team, and that's become the best times of my life. But we didn't have uniform sponsors or anything like that, so we would have pinto bean suppers and ham biscuit supper, breakfasts, whatever, and we had to sell that stuff. Our parents had to make it, and the community would buy it. It was just, I'm thinking, this is amazing. The support is what I'm getting to. The support system was unbelievable, and that's missing. That's a different level of support back then because it was just amazing. Yeah. And I take that with me to my grave because it was truly the best times of my life. We all went to college, but we played together during the summer. We were just one, and it was the best. And I had that growing up. I had a mini bike. I rode mini bikes all the time. I had horses. I rode horses all the time. I loved to fish. I did all that. And I didn't have computers. I didn't have phones. And that's okay then. I've always said the cell phone is the best thing and the worst thing at the same time because of what you send. But I grew up very simple. I graduated. I played sports in high school and did real well in high school academically, went to college, and just was really so blessed. And I mean, perfect? Absolutely not at all, but always grounded. My parents were very supportive. My dad was one of a kind. He really was. If I'd have been a boy, he'd have killed me. And my mother was tough as nails, and our family's been totally changed without him because I'm an only child, and it is the major piece of our family that's missing me. Our first Christmas is going to suck. I'm just going to tell you. I already know it. And but, I'll have my kids and stuff like that. I got a new son-in-law. He's amazing. But anyway, I grew up in Alamance County, and I went to church in Saxby-Hall forever, since the dad was born to 2007. And I was Sunday school director for about 6 years there and did a lot of upgrades to the church, but a lot of trainings for the teachers. I got them to Ridgecrest, I got them to Camp Castle, all kind of places to pull them out, because talking about the depth of leaders and teachers in churches. I mean, as a Sunday school director, I won the lottery. And you go through changes like that, and I think I told you, we upgraded our building. I'm the one who changed the carpet. Moses, I can so appreciate him. But that's just change, and that's with everything. Everything's got a dynamic of change, and that doesn't scare me at all. And because you have to work with it, but there's both two sides to it. And so just doing that, and I met my husband. He was in probably one of the world's ugliest murder trials ever, because he was a criminal defense attorney. And one of my friends from high school was on the jury, and my hair salon was in the court square. I cut hair for about 13 years. And he would come in there, he goes, "You women, don't you ask me nothing. I cannot tell you anything about this case." And I was going, "Come on, Milton." I hope Milton Tapp sees this. So anyway, he was as loyal as a juror as possible. He did his job. And I would read about Craig in the newspaper, because he's always some of the worst murder trials ever. And I got set up with a blind date with him. And talking about north and south, complete opposites. But he really grounded me, and I kind of brought him out of his blue suit, red tie, that kind of thing.
So was he a country boy?
No, oh my gosh, no. City, cotillion, country club, Corvette. Oh my gosh, I thought, you're just gonna have to, and I lived in Whitney and he lived in Burlington, and I didn't tell him where I lived the first 6 months we dated, because I don't know you. And I would meet him somewhere for lunch or something, and finally it was like 100-mile trip for him. I thought, he must really like me to drive this far to get me, go out to dinner, take me home, and go back home. So it was just really funny. But we are really different, but we both have the same heart. We really do. He's a wonderful father. And so anyway, but I look at how I grew up, and I look at how I've always been that person that people called, or Craig certainly is. But I was always that person that you could call me, and you could always depend on me, and you always will be able to. But I could find you the next path that you were looking for. I don't know, God just really blessed me with that. And when I ran for school board, working with sexual assault in schools and stuff, and just the community, and seeing just the horror of what was going on with children and adults, I wanted to run, because I did their programs in their schools with puppets, and a high school program and a middle school program about all kind of stuff, and I just really want to make a difference. And I'm going to tell you, Richard, the first time I saw that budget, I thought, I don't know about no budget. The figures were like 2.5 inches long and a 12 font. And I thought, how do you even spell it on a check? And I had no idea, because the budget, you got fellow board members, that's their thing. Mine was the kids, the mental health, the safety, the behavior, all that, the athletics, everything like that. Because I knew people, that was their gift. And I'm one of those, use your gift and bring that to the table. You don't need to do everything, because if you try to do that, you won't do anything good. And when I won, it was almost funny. And I didn't have a clue, but I think about all the new people that are running. They're going to feel the same way, but they're going to learn, but they're going to take their passion with them, and that's how they'll grow through it. That's what I did. But Alamance County has given me everything. It's given me safety. It's given me community. It's given me just support, the way people would follow us when we played ball. Oh my gosh, it was just, we went and played somewhere in the mountains one time, and it was in a field. There was no bases, and I thought, what are we doing? And it was just hilarious. But I would not trade that for anything. And that's what I would like for everybody in this world to be able to feel that way now. There's bad stuff. We all got bad times. But you take those bad times to grow from and become something that God's really got a plan for you too, because your biggest failures can be your mightiest successes if you learn from it. Like situations we're looking at now, you have to step back and look at it like, what am I so mad about? What am I so happy about? What am I so scared over? And you just always have to be in control of that, because if you don't own something, it'll own you. But Alamance County, I'm sitting here looking at Cedarock Park. This was not even a thought. We had Cedarock Park. It was probably a field when I was in high school, and now I look at it, and it's a rock star of this county. I could see a zip line going right across that pond. I'm already in my head thinking about stuff, and but it's because of leadership. Your county commissioners are just the face. just like Board of Education. We catch all the you-know-what, we get all the ugly things because we're supposed to. But county commissioners, you're the face, you make the decisions, but the people that do the work are in the field, like your directors, like your people like everybody at Cedarock Park. Oh my gosh, this just didn't happen. It's vision, and I'm a visionary person, because you got to think later and think big if you really want to have goals. And you might not get to big right away, but you never settle for just mediocre. You never settle, because I don't think people are mediocre. I think I always say go big or go home, and I mean that by never quitting the things you want to accomplish in life. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, put you down. I'm a Christian. The devil every day is like, Pam, you just ain't worth a flip. And I'm going, you're probably right, but I'm not going to pay any attention to you. But yeah, I love my county. I'm very proud of my county, and we've got a strong name in this state for how well we work together, and we can't ever lose that, ever. It's priceless. That's a gift, and we can't try and own territories of each other, because nobody owns nothing. Y'all work together. It's a team thing. I don't do with me, myself, and I. It's all about us. And that's got to stay the focal point and be a priority, or you'll get in a lot of trouble.
Well, humility is a great trait to have,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that in you, and I'm very thankful for that.
Thank you. That's a big compliment. I appreciate it.
So Pam, tell me about some of your experiences here in Alamance County as a child. My mom, I'm very proud of my mom. She was like a homecoming queen back at E.M. Holt in some year back in the 50s. I can't even remember. I got pictures of it. It's an awesome moment.
Her waist was this little.
Oh, yeah.
I hate those people.
What experiences can you share with me and the viewers for what life, what stands out in your mind as important times in your life here in Alamance County?
Well, I'll tell you a really funny one. When I was in the 8th grade, I had Pete Gillespie for my principal. God, he was powerful. He would walk in an assembly and he'd go, "That's good." And it was, shh, nobody, I thought, who is this man? And we had this special class thing that they put together in the 8th grade, and he was one of the teachers. It was like a special select group, like academic or something. I just got lucky. And he was probably, no doubt, one of the best math teachers I've ever had in my life. And he would later fish at my parents' pond. But I'm telling you, I will never forget him because of just the style of leadership he had and just the demand of respect. But I might have been basketball and cheerleader and president of student council my 8th grade year, and loved to turn cartwheels and round-offs. And so I might have been that person that we were getting ready to go to basketball practice. Yeah, and I was in the hall, and Willie, our janitor, would put these little green particles on the floor. You could slide. It was like Wet and Wild kind of slide.
You're doing the risky business?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I might have thought, well, ain't nobody around here, so I'm gonna turn a cartwheel and land it with 2 round-offs and a backflip. Did it? I can't believe I did that. That is so not me to do that. I did it, and I landed with my hands like Olga Corbett. I was like, yeah. And I looked, and I landed right in front of his door. And he was standing in there with the superintendent that made a visit. And he looked at me like, "I'm going to kill you." And I thought, you should. And so anyway, he said, "I need to see you in my office in the morning." I was like this tall. I thought, I'm so dead. I said, because back then, you got a paddling. And back then, his paddle was like this, looked like 25 feet to me, had holes in it so the steam off your hind end would shoot out of it and sparks. And I went in the next morning, I was about to throw up. I went ahead and told my parents because I thought, I'll get another one if I get his. So I told him what I did, and my dad just kind of grinned. He said, "Did you land it?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I landed it. Oh, yeah, I landed it." My mother was shaking her hand like, "I can't believe you did that." So Mr. Gillespie, I went in his office, and he took that paddle, and he was hitting. He said, "Do you think I really ought to paddle you?" I said, "Probably." And he said, "Why would you do something like that?" I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Are you being honest with me?" I said, "Totally." And he said, don't be flipping in front of my office anymore. And he let me slide. But now see, I don't forget that. I didn't flip anymore.
He taught you a lesson.
He was like talking about Moses and God Jr. I mean, Pharaoh. He was awesome. But then, like in high school, like I said, I was in Bells and Sons. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Awesome.
And my senior year, I was the lead in the musical Shenandoah. And oh my gosh, just the best buddies. And I think about how that made it. But there was a scene where I'm in the bedroom getting ready to get married. And the guy was, my husband was a soldier, and his name was David Chloe, but I think his name was Sam in the play. And the other girl that's the other with me, she's pulling strings on this corset that I've got to wear. Now I'm on stage with a slip, and it's a tank top and this corset. And I said, Miss Shaw, I just don't know about being out there. She said, you're going to be fine. I said, Miss Shaw, I've got on a slip. She said, Pam, you're going to do it. You're going to do it fine. And we did it. And I thought, oh. But I knew I can still recite my lines like, Pa is dead, Jacob is dead. You know, you remember these lines because that's all we did. And I know that play gave me such courage to be able to stand in front of people. Because, you know, I'm really an introvert, if anybody can believe that. If I'm talking about what I know, like child abuse, school system, crime, anything like that, I could tell Donald Trump to sit in the corner, just relax, I got this. But if I'm having to go to a meeting of people that I'm just there saying, being a representative of the school system, I am the biggest chicken. I find a corner and I just go, how are you? And that's it. And I mean, because that's a part of me a lot of people might not know, but I'm just like that, and that's okay. But musicals and things in school, in high school, and sports, oh my gosh, gave me the courage I didn't even know I had till later. And that's why I think the arts are tremendously important, because not everybody does calculus, and I'm glad they do, but not everybody sings and goes to Broadway, and I'm glad they don't, you know, that kind of thing. So I just want kids to find their gift and just soar with it. But yeah, oh yeah, that paddle, I'll never forget that, ever. I won't even know who I am, and I'll be 95 years old, and I'll remember that paddle. Maybe I could find his family, see if they could let me hang on my wall. But the respect I had for him is enormous. He's since passed away, but he was the principal that if I could clone, kind of like Michael Bayless is at Ray Street, and Daryl Thomas is at SeaTac, they're all great, but these two, if I could clone them like Mr. Gillespie, I would, because they get it. And kids know they get it, and that's why it works so well with them. And we got amazing principals. I'm proud of all of them, but they are kind of my pets. They'll kill me for saying that. But yeah, it's the county, and I look around at what we've got here, and you know, there's some things I want to bring here, because we don't have to drive all the way to the end of the state to have them, when we've got smart people and leadership here. We've got really good leadership in our agencies. Our law enforcement is mighty, because serving on the Domestic Violence Commission for years, and the Child Fatality Task Force, and now the Governor's Crime Commission, they know us. And it's not for Alamance County or a building. They know us for how we work together. How do y'all get along so well? Because not every county is like that. They try and have these power struggles, like typical power struggles in anything. And the person you're trying to help is always the person that gets really done the worst, because you're too busy thinking about yourself. And it's one thing I've learned when you're a public servant, and that is what you are. You are a public servant. Yourself is the last on your list. Because if you are trying to build your resume, or if you're trying to think you're all that because you got this title, I always say, if your title is your significance, you really need to re-examine that, because it ain't about you. You are the last one on the list, and you just have to be really selfless. Humble and kind, as Tim McGraw says, you just really need to be humble and kind, because I don't know, it's important to make sure that people know they can always count on you.
You know, I can understand that in a way. When I got into sound business, I started Alamance Sound, DJing karaoke here. And I had gotten shy after high school. I was very quiet. I was usually the one to sit in the back of the room. And getting up in front of people and talking is something that took me a while to get used to. But I I call it, I'm flipping my switch, okay? Because normally I'm a very quiet person, but when I get up in front of people, I can get up in front of people and talk and sing and do all these things in front of 1,000 people. I was one of the last hosts at the Arts Around the Square in Graham.
That I want to bring back. That's a biggie for me. Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Oh my gosh, that's so much fun.
I will never forget that, being up on that stage all day on that Sunday and hosting that stage. And I sang a little Teddy Bear, and and it was just, it was one of those moments in my life where I'll never forget it, being in front of that many people. I even had a couple of people come up afterwards and say something. Hey, I remember you singing Teddy Bear, but we as people, we're sometimes very quiet. I can see the quiet side of you, but I also see when you get into something that's your passion.
I'm crazy.
You are crazy.
Watch out.
That's right. You're flipping that switch on, and that's good, because you're being quiet and you're listening.
That's the key.
But you're also brave enough to take what you hear and make it work, and that's important.
Well, it's really funny because we were on the Child Potato Task Force, my first meeting, and I'm down there looking around going, what in the world am I doing in this room? Everybody in this room even smells smart. I mean, you got the head of pediatrics at UNC Chapel Hill. All he deals with is heroin addicted newborns. You got the head of this, you got the SBI, you just got, it's like the United Nations of North Carolina. And I'm sitting there thinking, what in the world? And I'm representing the Domestic Violence Commission, and I can represent that anywhere because I got that, Right. And I'm just sitting there looking around. I got 6 senators and 6 House of Reps, and they're the big time too. And I had Senator Paul Stem, smart, and we're sitting there and we're talking about a form of reproduction, like, I'll just say it's an IUD, and they're talking about the poverty part of this. There are like 33 counties in Alamance in North Carolina that don't even have an OBGYN. You think, how in the world? They go to a clinic or they go to another county. Well, when you're in labor, that just ain't good enough. I mean, you need it right there. So we were working on, supporting children in their lives and prenatal and everything like that. You have prenatal, intentional death, and unintentional death. And I was on intentional murder and suicide for kids under 18. How you even think about that is insane. So anyway, we're sitting there talking about this, and this doctor was talking about this, and the thing was for the General Assembly to pay the medical aspect of whatever, a small amount of fee, to give that new mother prevention, like an IUD. This is really personal. And I wasn't sure if that was safe, because I've had 3 children, and I was just listening to everything everybody was saying, and it was real mechanical. Real like dismount, Medicaid, and all this stuff, and I thought, anyway, so this was him. So I just don't think that the state should have to pay the obstetrician $250 to implement an IUD in a newborn mother, because 9 times out of 10, if she didn't have any prenatal care, she didn't have an OBGYN, you're not going to see her for her 6-week checkup follow-up. Because I met with my gynecologist and was getting all this information, because I ain't going to that meeting dumb, at least not as dumb as I am. And so anyway, and he said, well, I just don't think it's fair for us to do that and put that burden. And I don't know. It's like God just took his foot and pushed me. I mean, he's sitting right here. I'm sitting with the king, okay? And I said, but you know what? I said, I agree with you totally. I said, we so many times have to be that responsibility. I said, and it's not fair to somebody who doesn't get that. But for somebody who gets it, you got to, because not everybody's been raised in a great situation, and you got to understand that, and hopefully lead someone to, hopefully they'll have the better life that they deserve, whatever that looks like. And I said, but you know what? I said, you can pay that $250 right then, or you can pay for services from 0 to 18. I said, I bet that's cheaper. And everybody it was like, who is she? And I thought, what have I done? Who do I think I am? And the lady beside me, who's over mental health, I'm not remember her name, slipped me a note and said, I'm so glad you said that. And I thought, Tim Moore, Speaker House, is going to say, "Little girl, you need to go home. You're trouble." And so anyway, but you know what? I asked him, because I respected him, and I told him I did, because I totally supported his side of this. But I know the other side, and it's hard to make decisions like that. So I wrote him an email and told him how much I appreciated what he said, because I totally agreed with it. But on the other hand, we just can't agree on stuff like that, because that's not the real world. And I said, "Would you like to come and speak at my Women's Republican Club meeting? Because I'm the president, and I would really like for you to tell them all about what's going on with House Bill 2 and everything like that." And he agreed. And he came and spoke. He's not in the House anymore. He didn't run again, but he's the most sharp, smart, genuine human being you'll ever meet in your life. And he was on one side, I was on the other, but we were really on the same side. It just looked kind of different. And I'll always respect him for that. But I thought, I am way too big for my britches, and I just need to sit here and bring some duct tape next time I come down here. It has been like that ever since, because I jumped him over suicide prevention. 6 years it took the Senate. 6 years it took the Senate to pass this bill. House did every time. And I think of all the kids that took their life in 6 years, that maybe one class or one person intervening in their life, that wouldn't happen. I look at everything like that. And I think, with young people, like I say, 911's too slow, because they don't wait. They just go. And so, but yeah, I'm crazy.
So it's good to be the laid-back person. I can see that in you. You're the country girl that likes to do country things, but you also have to be able to stand up for what you believe in, which I know you do. You have the humility to know the difference and how to put it in the right gear.
Yeah, I hope so.
You can't be intimidated. I mean,
No.
We need a county commissioner who's going to stand up for what she believes in, who's not going to back down, someone who's going to have something in her mind and she's going to shoot for it, and it's good for the people, and you cannot let anyone else intimidate you. And I know, I've seen this part of you. You're not like that. You're like me. You sit back in the corner and you listen, and then when you're ready to act, you flip that switch and you become alive and you take on that role of I'm going to defend what I believe in. And that is a very important thing. And that is one of the reasons I believe in what you're doing.
But the thing about that, Richard, is you can't defend something that just you want.
Right, exactly.
It's not about my way. Exactly. It's about the right way. And you just, church has taught me that, so many valuable lessons. Some of them heartbreak, some of them just pure joy, and that is life, and I'm okay with it. But like, we've got some issues in our county right now that you got hardcore this way, you got hardcore that way.
Right. And
until they are ready to back off that pride and control, it's just there is nothing you can do. Nothing. I know, I always compare this to, like, whenever it took, about a week and a half to get Israel out of Egypt. It took about 40 years to get Egypt out of Israel. And we don't have 40 years, and we don't have time to mess around with wasting time. We are so blessed. I look at this election, I think, why are we even fighting? Because if you will stop and put yourself over there and just realize kids like my son, like my dad, like everybody else's relatives that went and fought in wars, and you might not have understood them, but you were fighting for America and what we have. I don't think none of us really know what we have until, unfortunately, we lose it, because we don't have what other places have, but you can start to see some hints of it, and that's that power thing. Power is a tool of the devil, and you get so lost in it and so distracted by it and blind. If ever I have seen the definition of blindness, I have seen it. No matter where I look, it's the same way. And we've all experienced it ourselves. And we just have to guard our country and what it's always been. We are so not perfect, but I look at us compared to the rest of the world, and we get it. And this one nation under God, if we don't get that right, I'm sorry. That's just the way I look at it. He's blessed us, and if we can really blow this. And I don't put my faith in any man or woman leader, because they will let me down. I will let you down. Because I am human. And I've said that before, somebody on me the other day about, something. with schools, and I said, you know what, I'm human, and I guess my standard doesn't maybe suit you, and that's okay. Will I ever meet anybody's standards? Because I told my children, I said, if you expect your standards out of other people, you might as well go and get your Kleenex out and start crying, because we're all different, and that is okay. But I can't, I'm human, and I do the best I can, and I pray about everything all the time. I just don't pray about everything. I go to Him in prayer, and I always, when I get beat up, and I do on Facebook or anywhere else, emails, all I got to come back with you is Scripture, and if you want to go to war with me, you better be ready to go to war that way, because that's all I have, and that's all I have, and I don't want nothing else, because God's got me. He's got all of us if we'll just let Him. So, but yeah, it's interesting. But Mr. Stem was just, I respect him big time. I've met some amazing leaders. And I'll tell you this, I think I've told you, when I was running in 2012, I was at a cookout in Swepsonville, and up walked Pat McCrory, and I went, oh my gosh, and he come up and introduced himself like he needed to introduce himself. Me and Craig stand there, and he shook Craig's hand. He said, what you running for? And he says, I'm not running. My wife is running. And I said, I'm just running for school board. And he corrected me in the most kind of way. He said, little lady, he didn't call me little girl. He said, little lady, your job will be so much harder than mine if I should win governor, because it's all emotional. And I have been on an emotional roller coaster for 8 years, and I respect every parent that has screamed at me, cried at me, asked me for help. I drop everything to help somebody. And I get that, because your children, there is nothing more important to them, and it has to be right. And you have to know when you say goodbye to your kids and they go to school, they are safe till you see them that afternoon. And that's been my sole purpose on this board. And it's gone on deaf ears sometimes, but you just have to keep yelling and screaming, stalking some, and then you have to bake for people. I guarantee, I told Dr. Harrison, I said, I know I got mental health services on site because 2 bags of caramel creams, his weakness. But no, I'm kidding. But still, I will bake for you in a minute if I can get something for a kid. Whatever it takes.
Pamela, one of the things that I admire about you is your ability to be real. It's one of the things that I try to do in every video is I don't pretend to be something I'm not. You come across as a sophisticated, very smart woman.
Okay.
But I also see the country girl side in you that I'm, as a country boy, I'm impressed with.
I take the fish off the hook myself.
There you go.
That's it.
So I know that you have a lot of people that support you, a lot of people that believe in you. Can you tell me a little bit about them and how what that means to you?
Well, when I first won Board of Education, and I was not a former teacher, a former principal, a former anything in education, automatically you're on the outside. And I'm not one that feels like I ever have to prove myself because I got elected. So now I got to earn the job. And I drove people crazy because I don't like to wait. Now, especially in situations if water's running out of a roof, why are you waiting? You can't wait, because I know that adds up, and that leak is way up the road somewhere, so I figured that out. And I learned real easy what may and shall is, because the first time I went to a board meeting and watched it, I come home, and when I was thinking about running, I said, Craig, I do not belong with these people. That is nothing about, I will not fit. There's nowhere up there that I'm going to sit. I do not belong with these people, because they were real smart. They were talking about policy. And I thought, when are you going to talk about kids and help me get this off? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, they are arguing over may and shall. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, he said, no, that's big, because he's a lawyer. I'm going, what are you talking about? He said, may, maybe, shall, you're going to do it. It's a big deal, Pam. I said, oh, well, that should just be my legacy, may and shall. And so, but I got it, and we revised policies. I think we finished up last week, or we're just about doing it. But it's a lot of that goes with it. And I thought, that ain't what I want to do, but I'll do it. And so, but anyway, like that we've had we've had people that are in maintenance. Jimmy Russell, I love him. I love him. He is just salt of the earth. And when we painted Commons a couple years ago, the wrong paint was maybe used. Instead of, you don't put latex over something or vice versa. And if kids, which they want to lean up on the wall of their book bags, if they would do it, it would peel right off. Oh. Well, if you've ever been a kid, you're going to sit there and peel it, and just that's going to be your thing. And so we went over and looked at it, and I thought, what is this? What is this? Because the walls are off-white and the stripe is blue. It goes to Cummins colors. And I lost it. And I thought, what are you talking about? This is crazy. How much? Hundreds of thousands of dollars this cost? What is wrong with you people? And I got leaders standing around me going, what? I'm going, hey, look at this right here. It just, I said, so maybe in a meeting, and we were talking about this, and I said, you better tell that painting company to bring their little blue van down here with their little blue paintbrush and fix that. I said, because the taxpayers of Alamance County paid for that, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, it was like I was going to get on a broom, a Swiffer jet, and ride across the sky. It just ticked me off because I thought, how disrespectful. And Todd, every time, Todd Thorpe, I love him. He's like the right arm of everything. He's your guy. You know what I mean? Right. For anything. And he said, Pam, we're going to get this done. I said, Todd, I'm going crazy. But Jimmy would say, well, did you bring your blue paintbrush? So I'm going to get him something last meeting because he's just funny. But I drove him crazy with getting the tennis courts replaced because when you have cracks, your kid's foot could go toward an ankle and all this stuff, but it's always with a lot of zeros. It drives me crazy. But I would call Jimmy and I go, Jimmy, and like Jimmy is my personal fix-it, and he don't work for me. And I could just see his eyes just going, God, on his phone it probably says she-devil when I call because I would just drive him nuts. But I am relentless. I will not let that go. Just like we're out of school, I will not let that go. But I got to for right now. So anyway, but I would call Todd and ask him about stuff because Todd did student services. We got the SEAL program on like a December 28th. School was closed. The Department of Public Safety. My friend Denise Briggs comes down. They tell us how we can do this. No school system has ever done this for suspended kids. It was just amazing. Todd's that guy. Todd doesn't work 8 to 5. He very seldom gets to work 8 to 5. But I mean, he's always that guy. He is your right arm. And Dr. Monroe, before he retired, former Army Ranger, got shot, got a Purple Heart. He literally got me through the military with Evan. Because if I hadn't had him, I'd go to a meeting, I'd be fine, and I'd just burst in tears and have to walk out because I did not do well with that. And he would talk to me. He would call me. He would send me scripture. He was just so amazingly kind to me, and I still talk to him. He wrote me the best letter of recommendation for county commissioner. It looked like something that I don't know who would have wrote. It's unbelievable, like the President of the United States would have wrote for their favorite person. And I will always honor him. When I called him, it was because I would be on fire. Like, he would answer, because that was the only time I'd call anybody. I wasn't to call you just to, hey, how you doing? If I called you, it was fixing to hit the fan. And he would go, yes, ma'am. And I said, we got a kid at a school that's addicted to drugs, and we're going to find him. And he would go, and I got to hand that kid his diploma. Dr. Monroe was always an Army Ranger, no matter what. He knew I didn't call him unless I needed him, because I take their jobs very seriously. I respect them. They're really 5 people at one time. They're everywhere all the time. And Angela Boss, she's another assistant superintendent. She does all the curriculum, and I can call her if a kid can't get online, or if something happened at school, something this, that, everything you can imagine. And she doesn't call anybody else. She goes. She's a real servant, and she's kind of quiet, but she gets the job done. And Jean Manus, she's over all elementary. Heart the size of Texas, loves her children. I can call her about anything. And Ravonda Johnson, oh my gosh, she's over middle and high school. She's pushing to get all kind of other things in this school system for like another ROTC, so you don't have to go just to Western. We can get it kind of equalized. There's so many people behind the scenes that make it work. And I don't want them to ever think I don't know that Marion Bynum in transfer, she's the secretary. She does the whole thing. She's absolutely amazing. I could go down the hall, just go down the hall. And it's just phenomenal how these people work. Jeremy Teeter, adds and subtracts better than anybody known in the United States of America. He does the money, and Jeremy will find money we've wasted, and we didn't know we wasted it just because we didn't try something different. He's so fiscally sound, and your money man is, or woman, is everything. I've never had a meeting that I've ever said, Jeremy, I'd ask him a question. It could be the square root of 9 million something, and he'd give me an answer. He never tells you, I'll get back to you. Never, ever. And that's so important. And then it's just, I just want to thank them. And then like people now, while I'm sitting here with you, I'm very introverted. It's very hard for me to work polls because I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I have like people like Bob Creighton, I have Marsha Brown, I have Paul Williams, I have Kathy Falk, I have Ellen Croft, my best friend. I mean, I just look at the people and I think, you're so gifted that you would put my stupid t-shirt on and stand out there for me and tell people what you think of me. And you really like me and appreciate me because I don't deserve it. You know, I'm a nobody in a big somebody world. And I can't, anybody can run for office, but you're the small part of it. Your part comes later. But to get you there, I've got Navy SEAL teams, that's what it feels like to me, that are literally helping me win this election. And I'll tell you, Richard, if I win this election, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Because I have goals. I just don't talk about certain things. You don't hear me talk about taxes. We all pay taxes. If you live in this country, you pay taxes. You're just supposed to pay your fair share. We need to do better with seniors. I'm sorry, they've paid them forever. And taxes are just part of life, but you can't get ripped off by them, and you got to be smart with them. But if I don't win, that's okay too, because I'm me, and I may be the world's biggest nobody, but I'm God's somebody, and whatever is next for me is going to be His will, not mine. And if He wants me in this position, I'll be in this position. If He doesn't want me in this position, I'm not supposed to be in this position. And I'm fine because I'm not gonna be any different. I won't. You know, I'll get back into working with victims. And really serve. I'd love to get on a military base and work with victims. Oh my gosh, can't you see me and a brigadier general going at it? Yes, little boy, you need to sit there. I'm gonna take your buttons off your little shirt, your little decorations.
I feel sorry for him.
But I'm telling you, if I got a letter from the president right now, I'd move. I'm gone. Cause if I could work for my country, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sweeping the jet, dusting the furniture. I mean, I just want to serve, whatever level. Why I ran for commissioner was veterans, and the drug mess in this county, and it's got to go everywhere. We just can't have this. We can't have that. We got to have somewhere to put people. If it's court ordered, that's here because their families are close by. Their people that'll work with them, their agencies are close by. You can't go far out of town. You've got to have the support of your family, because when you have a kid that's a drug addict, the whole family has a drug problem, and it's devastating. It owns their bones until they can get over it, and it's still going to always be there. If you've ever had a drinking problem and you don't have a drinking problem right now, it's right behind you, waiting to tempt you. And it's the same thing with anything that gets a hold of us. Addiction comes in all shapes and sizes. But I'm humble. You're sitting here with me, doing this with me, because we met at Starbucks, and I'm thinking, God, this just didn't happen. He always puts amazing people in my life, and that is to grow me. One thing my father always told me is, Pam, you've got to always hang around smarter people than you, because that's how you grow. If you think that you know it all, you need to just go home, because you never peak. And if I tell kids it all the time, you never peak, you reach for the next level, because if you've peaked, you're done. I'll peak when I'm dead, and I will rest when I'm dead, and I will shut up when I'm dead, and I will be in heaven, who knows what.
Having a great conversation with a lot of smart people.
Well, I don't know about this one, but I'm telling you, when I had the ridiculous audacity to challenge a member of the House over an IUD, and $250. I thought I got to go to bat for the other side, because I know if they're starting off like this, we got to do something or they're going to end up like this. And I don't want any kid to not have their dreams met, whatever it takes. You know, it's priceless. But I'll tell you about my taxes and then I'll shut up. We don't have our taxes in our loan of our home. They come in 2 envelopes, county, city. And I'll put them on my dresser. Every year I put them on my dresser and I'll walk by them. And I'll walk by them. I look at them. I'm going, every time I'm walking by you, I'm taking off $10. In my stupid way of thinking. I'm just going to keep walking by them. They're still there. Craig will pay them the last minute because he said, I just can't do it. I can't do it. But, you know, I know what that buys for me. I don't put taxes down unless they're ridiculously high. You're not getting your money's worth. I know when I call EMS, it comes. When I call police, they come. When I call fire department, they come. When I turn my water on, it works and it's purified. When I flush my toilet, it moves. When that man picks up my trash, it goes to the landfill. And brilliant people, you should go there. That is like Emerald City. That's the most amazing place ever. But everything that we don't even think of when we call, when we need our crisis and just our basic needs, that's what my taxes pay for. My taxes pay for that roof that better not leak, and they better fix it the first time. And your taxes provide everything, and we got to pay them because we want to be safe and we want to have everything we're supposed to have and what we need. But we can't be ripped off with them. And it's like I always say, another $1 million is not going to fix a kid. Get that out of your head. Great teachers and great families and a great building, you know, and children willing to come there and do everything that they're going to get to do anyway because they're well and they're safe. And I just want it all for kids. But it's always a triangle, parent, kid, and school. If we just all do our part, we all win. Because if I got to do somebody else's part, I can never do it as good as they can, you know? And I think children deserve the best of all of us. Because one thing I know, they do not put their order in for the parent. They're born. And I used to do a class, my support group class that I would do for women that were victims of sexual assault when I was in Caswell. And I had some that were court ordered to come to me, or they're going to get their children taken because of just bad decisions, trauma in their history as children. It's just pitiful, break your heart. And I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, I want you to write this on a piece of paper. And I said, if your kids could go back and pick their parent, would they still pick you? And I said, write it down and ball it up and put it in this trash bag. I said, and then we're done. And every one of them said no, because they knew they had blew it, because somebody blew it with them. And it repeats and repeats and repeats. And I don't want anybody to ever think that they can't fix it, because we got a God and He can heal anything. And we just have to believe that and put everybody else out of the way. Because we got stuff. We all a hot mess any particular day of the week. But He loves us. And I'm telling you, I don't know how He tolerates us. He don't ever want to ask me to substitute. Not for 15 minutes. Boom, I'm done, you know. So, but yeah, I know we can make it. I don't have any doubt. But we have to know that, you know. So, I'm pretty boring.
Oh, you're real. That's what makes you so good.
Sometimes that don't make you popular.
Well,
you know, that's okay.
It's okay.
My crown's in heaven. Sure ain't on this earth. So
give me your last word, Miss Thompson. What do you want to say before we get out of here?
I just want to thank you all. If you vote for me, thank you. If you don't, that is okay. You need to vote your conscience, because that is your right. It is not my right to tell you or anybody else's. You need to really look at your candidates, and whichever you're like-minded with, you need to cast your vote for them. And just remember that we're so lucky that we're here and we get to vote. And like I was just saying, I remember when Iraq got liberated and everybody's thumb was purple as a sign of it didn't fade, and it was a proof. And I don't ever want us to get to where our elections are that way, because we've always got to honor them. Some's going to win, some's going to lose. That's why you have them again in a couple of years. But America is the greatest country ever, and we got to honor her because a lot of people have died for her. And so we can sit here just like this and just have peace. Nothing's dropping, nothing's harming us. And I take that real serious. So just vote and be thankful that we are free and we get to vote. Regardless of who wins or loses, it's all up to us. We are the ones that's going to make it happen. So never forget how amazing you are at what you do, and that's being an American.
Nicely said. Thank you, Ms. Thompson, for being here. Y'all get out and vote this year and make a difference. That's all.